Couple things to get out of the way before we dive into this list that I know you're so eager to learn about. By long lasting, I literally mean long lasting. Specifically, I'm not talking about fragrances that will fill up a room for 12 hours. Some of them might, but that is not a prerequisite here. However, they will stick around on my skin all day long. We're talking 10, 12 hours and beyond, even if they are relatively soft for a period of that time.
Also,
you don't need a fragrance to fill up a room for 12 plus hours. But if you're looking for that, watch this video.
Also,
I cannot guarantee that these fragrances will be long lasting on your skin,
and therefore give you the attention you so desperately seek from your fragrance.
But you already knew that. And if you didn't know that, now you know that. Please don't forget.
Thank you.
Some of these fragrances have gotten me some great feedback, even 8+ hours after wearing them. But most importantly, number one criteria for this video is that these fragrances keep my attention all day long when I'm wearing them. I love every second that they're on my skin. So with that out the way, let's dive right into it. I have these basically in order of interest for me. In terms of how they keep my interest throughout the day, number 1 is going to be more interesting for me than number 10, but I think all of them are wonderful. I love all of them as they sit on the skin all day. I love the wafts that I get around me. And our first pick is from the house of Narciso Rodrigues, a new fragrance in my collection I've talked about from time to time. This is for him Bleu Noir Eau de Parfum. This is not a room filler. This will not create a gaseous cloud around you
that will choke your enemies and swoon your friends. This is not that fragrance.
But it sticks around on my skin way longer than I thought it would. I still get wafts from time to time, but again, it's not gonna reach out and grab people. But I do consider it long lasting. It is an eau de parfum. It does stick to my skin. The vibe that it has is this thick richness. It is musky. It's kind of fresh, spicy, a little bit sweet, a little creamy and smooth. Essentially smells like a smooth, creamy version of Cartier Declaration to me, but it smells utterly wonderful. Lots of musk, gives it a nice sexy appeal, something to wear at night. But again, could last all day. It does have a freshness that goes with the blue vibe, which is a very versatile type of fragrance, so you could wear it even to work, and it should last you most of the day. So that's our first pick, Narciso Rodrigues, for him Bleu Noir Eau de Parfum.
Such a long name. Come on, guys.
Next one, from the house of Mancera. This is a powerhouse. This is one that could fill a room if you spray heavy, and even if you don't spray heavy, you still might choke out some people if you spray just a couple too many sprays. This is Instant Crush, their clone of Baccarat Rouge 540. They're not gonna say that, but we all know it. If you smelled it, you've smelled Baccarat Rouge 540, you know that they straight up copied that DNA because they wanted to cash in on that part of the market share because it's a great DNA. It's very popular. It's kind of a phenomenon around the world, but I actually kind of like this more than the original. This is creamier and richer and smoother. It is floral jasmine, so a little bit thick and powdery. You do have saffron, making it a little spicy, leathery. You have this kind of cotton candy-like sweetness, not even kind of, it is cotton candy-like sweetness that envelops the scent, almost marshmallow-like in its texture. It is so thick and sweet, and you have a lot of amberwood in here, bringing a really pleasant, borderline synthetic, sweet warmth in there that is technically synthetic, but it smells really good. And you also have some vanilla, which I think is a great addition to this. Basically beast mode stuff. Leaves a wonderful trail, has gotten me some great attention well into wearing. If you haven't tried it yet, get a sample. I'm gonna say get a decant of any of these if you're interested. Don't go out and just blind buy the bottle. Let's get a handle on that type of behavior
right now.
From henceforth, you have no need to buy a bottle of a fragrance you've never tried. Unless you can only buy it online and samples are not available, or you can't sample it in your country. I know there's a lot of roadblocks to that, but if you can avoid it, avoid it. But that's Instant Crush, good stuff. Another designer fragrance, one of the newest from Dior. This is Sauvage Elixir. I surprisingly enjoyed this one. I blind bought it. I don't recommend it. You're gonna see reviewers like myself blind buying fragrances, and that is one of those instances where we say, do as we say, not as we do. Because we're doing it for you. We have a channel, we have an outlet, we're showing you what the fragrance is and its full presentation before you have to go out and spend your money. So let us do the blind buying, but even then I try to really not do it that much. I did blind buy this as soon as it came out, and I dig it. I was surprised because I don't care for the rest of the line prior to this, but this made this fragrance DNA more mature, more interesting to me, a little bit more rich and complex. It's still fresh, spicy. It still has the remnants of that party boy shower gel freshness that's quite unnatural smelling, but they did warm it up with spices and amber and some darker woods and some sweeter notes that make it rich and sweet, but still fresh and still kind of versatile. But I would mostly save this for the evening or when it's not too hot. This definitely is a compliment getter if you do wear it with confidence and you don't spray too much, because you don't need more than 2 or 3 sprays. This stuff is really strong. That is Dior Sauvage Elixir. Here's a really interesting one. I find this fragrance to be a perfect blend of unique and unusual, but kind of familiar and quite wearable. This is called Ganymede from Marc-Antoine Barros. Again, kind of unusual. Smells metallic and mineral-like. There's a fresh mineral metallic vibe. Violet leaf is in here. You do have a little bit of immortelle, which brings an interesting curried like maple culinary feeling that just works. It sounds weird, but it actually makes this fragrance all come together. It has this very interesting kind of suede like note. It basically smells like the interior of a brand new luxury car, that leather interior, just wood grain, chrome, everything is just pristine. It smells brand new. That's the vibe I get out of this, even though it's supposed to represent Ganymede, which is Jupiter's largest moon. And I get that vibe too. Mineral, cold, metallic. Ultimately a fresh scent that's quite versatile, and you can also wear it all day because it lasts all day. Really strange, but this thing lasts forever. And it's gotten me some great feedback here and there. But I mostly just enjoy the way it smells 15 hours into the dry down because it lasts that long. That's Ganymede. Here's another fragrance that could fill a room if you're not careful. This is Enclave. They released this a couple years ago, and this is a beautiful duality of fresh and warm, cooling and warm. You have cardamom, you have mint, mixing with labdanum and leather, and it's resinous and warm and sweet and smoky. But on top, it's this cooling, invigorating, fresh, spicy mint. And those two things work together, but they mostly transition from fresh to warm. And that is something that I prefer out of my fragrances, honestly. The Dior and Ganymede, those two are pretty linear, I would say. Actually, even the Mancera is pretty linear. This one transforms. I prefer transformation in my fragrances because that's what keeps my interest. It just kind of shifts personality throughout the day, and it leaves a very enigmatic bubble around you. It smells like nothing else out there. Definitely get you a sample of Enclave. I know they're available at DCANX. You can use the code STAYFRESH17, get you a discount. We've been rocking with them for a minute. We will continue to do so. I'll link everything below. And at the top 5, a relatively simple fragrance that comes off unlike almost anything else out there. Undeniably powerful stuff. Attractive in an unusual way, a little bit exotic smelling. This is called African Leather from Memo. Powerful, robust scent. Leather, yes, but leather is not at the forefront for me. It is the foundation of the scent. But on top of that, you have this almost resinous, balsamic, damp sweetness made a little bit fresh and spicy, but it's also warm. And again, rich and powerful. Do not spray too much of this. This will fill a room if you're not careful. This is one that keeps my attention all throughout the day. It doesn't change all that much on my skin. Again, there's not a lot of constituents going on, so transformation is minimal. But it is a very interesting, relatively linear scent. And it's one that, because it's so strong, it will get attention. But again, at the very least, it keeps my attention. That is African Leather. From Roger Parfums, one of the fresher fragrances on this list. This is a fougere. This is intended to be a gentleman's fragrance, to have that very familiar and classical, fresh, spicy, herbal, woody, mossy, sweet, creamy fragrance profile that the fougere is known for. Something that smells like you just came out the barbershop. You're in a well-tailored suit, or at least a well-tailored jacket. Your hair is clean. You wash your face, you brush your teeth, you are inviting, you are ready to welcome people and greet people, and they want to be close to you. And this is his version of that, at least one of them. This is called Scandal Pour Homme. This is a stunning fougere. It is kind of intoxicating. It does have a little bit of a funk in there. I'm not exactly sure what that is, but it makes it a little bit more mature than something that I've talked about, like At the Barber's from Margiela. That's a pretty accessible fougere, pretty round around the edges, but this one has a little bit of an edge that the older gentleman might appreciate more, or just the older, more experienced person. Again, you can wear whatever the heck you want. But as a parfum concentration, this will last on my skin forever, honestly. It leaves a beautiful bubble and trail, and when I dress it up and I wear it, especially at night, but it works during the day too, but when I dress it up, it enhances my attitude and it has an effect on people. Even if they don't give me a compliment, you can just tell that the way that they are perceiving me is that I got it all together. And I do.
Try!
That is Roger Parfum's Scandal Pour Homme. The Parfum Cologne version of this is also wonderful. A little bit fresher, a little bit less dense and rich, but still really good and not a bad performer. Up next, this fragrance is probably the newest to my collection, period, at least at this point in time, and it's at number 3. And there's a reason for that. Honestly, it could keep creeping up. This is the newest fragrance from the House of Agros. I just did a little first impressions review, what I call my real world reviews, or in the real world reviews, and you can check it out here if you missed it to get more details on the scent and on my first raw impressions when I first smelled it. But this is the newest fragrance from the house, from their artist series that they call Adonis Awakens. It's a beautiful, opulent, rich rose fragrance, but I call it roasted rose. Chestnut and rose working together, giving it this warm, almost woody nuttiness to a sweet, rich, opulent rose that is made sweet and rich by way of raspberry and vanilla working together. And it dries down to a base of woods like cashmere wood and sandalwood. There's a little bit of this dark, rough edge to it that I think is a mix of the chestnut, maybe with the woods, that again almost gives it that roasted feeling, but it's rose, and it's such an odd combination that just works. I haven't smelled anything like this. I find it utterly addictive. I find it intoxicating in the air around me. It lasts and lasts and lasts. It is so elegant. See if you can get Agros' Discovery Set. You can use my code FRESH10, save you some money at checkout. You can get all 8 of their fragrances, including this one. And if you really dig it, you can go in on a full bottle. I can highly, highly recommend trying Adonis Awakens. If you want something unique, powerful, rich, it's a vibe. Incredible stuff. I'm raving on and on because I really, really enjoy it. That is Adonis Awakens. Here at the second spot, I've been raving about this stuff since I first smelled it. I didn't think I would absolutely love it, and I absolutely loved it from first spray. I've been talking about it non-stop ever since. It's in the air right now. This is one of the sexiest fragrances in my collection. It performs very well. Not the strongest on this list, but quite well. It will stick around. It will be pretty diffusive if you spray a little bit more liberally, and it just has this aura that is utterly alluring. This is DesirToxic. I know it's not the easiest fragrance to get or sample. You basically have to go through Micallef to try this fragrance, but I think you can also sample it from them, so do get a sample. This stuff is almost mainstream smelling, but there's something different about it. Black currant with maybe some citruses, some fresh spices, cannabis, making a very interesting, almost sour herbal note that complements the scent so well. Otherwise it would be too sweet and too playful. It actually gives it a sexy edge, having that slight bit of cannabis herbal quality. If I can compare it to anything, it's kind of like Leighton from Parfum de Marly, but it's more complex. Honestly, it's sexier, it's a little bit darker. It's like a darker version of Leighton, but not quite Leighton as well. It's like similar types of elements coming together, but in this case, the elements are different. It's like a similar formula, but different elements. DesirToxic, I keep talking about it because it's really good. And it gets me positive attention all day long when I wear it, and I love the way it smells around me. Anyway, that's that. This is gonna be one of the strongest fragrances in my collection, and not in terms of it pushing out in every direction and grabbing every person by the neck and wringing them and pulling them towards me and telling them I'm wearing a fragrance. I don't really like my fragrances to do that. That's unnecessary. If people want to get to know me, they can talk to me. It doesn't have to be my scent. Just a compliment. But this thing sticks around. It leaves a beautiful trail that lingers for hours. I've left rooms and come back and it's still in the room. I don't know what it is about this stuff that makes it so heavy and fixative, but it's incredible. And this is not new to the channel. This is Oud Galore from Chris Collins. Been talking about it, will keep doing so. One of my favorite oud rose fragrances that's more westernized, very easy to understand and wrap your nose around. It is more of a medicinal, dry, woody oud, but made rich and sweet with a jammy rose, with some orris, so it has a buttery quality to it. It smells expensive. It is expensive and it smells expensive. It smells like you are getting what you paid for. And that is when I think perfumery is at its best. This is utter quality. It checks all the boxes. Not the most versatile fragrance if that's what you're looking for. It is a little situational because the profile, woody, rosy, sweet, rich, that's not something you'd wear every day. At least I wouldn't. But if you haven't tried it yet, I don't know what you're waiting on. Get you a discovery set from Chris Collins. Oud Galore, stunning fragrance if you're looking for an easy to wear oud rose that lasts a very long time. There you go. All right, your turn. Have you tried any of these fragrances? What is your experience with them? Do they last a long time on you? Do they last 6 minutes? Some people say that. Have you gotten compliments with any of these fragrances? Do you care about compliments? Do you despise them? Do you run from them? Do you beg for them? The comments are open. Let's talk about it. Thank you so much for tuning in. Peace. I'll see you in the next one.